Her real name is Wolfkill.
No. Oh, this thing's on.
Yep, been on for a while.
Yeah.
This is a
But I didn't
couch.
test in the restroom a minute ago. As I was going to.
This couch is making me look more casual than I feel, just so you know.
It leans way back.
Yeah.
How you guys doing?
Good. Good. You know, because you were just there. We were all just there. and we
That's
were
true.
fine.
That's true. Way to kill the magic. Okay. So, that's fine. That's fine. How are you guys doing? Awesome. Well, quick introductions. My name is Jeff Easterling. Some people, thank you. Some people know me as Grim Brother One or Grim or He's Broken. Stop that. All sorts of things. It is my pleasure to welcome onto the stage Mr. Frank O'Connor, franchise creative director, and Miss Kiki Wolfkill. I always want to think of a cool intro for Kiki, but nothing will ever top Frank's old panel introduction of fresh off of her throne of skulls is Kiki Wolfkill. So I'm like, well, never mind. I'm just going to say her name because it's cool enough.
It's a tiny throne of skulls. They're like kitten skulls.
Kitten skulls.
That makes it way
No, that makes it better or worse. Fine. This is not that kind of panel, I thought. And, of course, the one, the only, Mr. Brian Gerard, Mr. Sketch over there. Sketch has been representing you guys, and actually myself, even as a Halo fan, for a long time. And speaking of a long time, the Halo franchise has been around for a long time. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. But we wanted to start out with looking back at some of our early days in the franchise, and here's some old looks. Going a way back machine. We see up in the top right, Kiki Wolfkill. We were convinced she was either working a call center or calling her high school best friend with that amazing corded phone and the 64,000-pound CRT TVs. But Kiki, that is actually not the case. What's this picture?
This is what game dev looked like in 2000. So this is while Bungie was working on getting Halo CE as a day one launch title, I was in Liverpool working with Bizarre Creations getting Project Gotham Racing out the door as a launch title. So yes, I was literally 11 at the time.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't even know.
Give me another one of those.
Because I think my boyfriend left me during that launch cycle because I was never in the country. So I don't know who I was on the phone with. But.
Well, all I see is that magnificent belt buckle, though, which is just incredible.
Hello, 2000.
Sketch, talk to us a little bit about what we see in the bottom right.
I think I'm not old enough to actually buy a copy of Halo from EB Games at that point. I think I started I think that's probably 2004, I believe. That was probably Halo 2's big E3 year. But yeah, I think, what was your joke, Frank? It was sort of the...
Barbara Streisand, photo filter, Innocence Lost. There's a lot going on in that.
Yeah, the soft focus is on point.
Well, we didn't really have cell phone cameras back then, so...
The problem is that you don't look that much different. Like, how good does this dude look still?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, look good,
I
man.
feel like there's a little more feather to the hair.
It's
maybe
true.
Back then.
It is true. It's starting
It's
to...
the wisdom. It's the wisdom. And then we got a shot of Frank. And at first I was mad that there wasn't a shot of me, but the more we looked at this picture, the more we've actually convinced ourselves that is Frank and I at Comic-Con.
We've decided.
I don't remember it, but I'm actually convinced that it happened. Frank, what's this one?
Well, this is when we first made that electrical connection, yes. I can't remember, I think it was Comic-Con.
Yep.
And I think I just grabbed him because it was pretty awesome to see a middle-aged man dressed as Blanca, and I appreciated it.
It does look like you're about to flee. You're like literally free.
He is
Well,
planning,
we were
he is
gonna
literally
flee
planning
together.
an exit strategy if you look at those eyes.
We were having a Cliffy's yacht party as the entertainment.
As you do.
Yeah.
Yes.
That actually dates the photo better than
Yes.
any description.
Did we preface this panel with saying that
Oh,
it would
it's a happy
be
hour.
shallow, unmeaningful content?
Oh yeah. Are you guys okay with shallow Halo talk?
Yes!
I mean,
We'll
we
consider
figured
this
you
in.
all came to the Outpost to hang out with your friends and chat Halo. That's what we plan on doing. Is that cool?
Yes!
Awesome.
It's a happy hour.
It
panel.
is, yeah, it's 5 o'clock, so, here. So, what is Halo? Now, most of you guys are probably here because you already know the answer to that question. At least we're probably hoping, but we are also hoping that a lot of you guys might be here because you were drugged here by something, by someone or something.
Right.
I want to say drug,
Drugging?
mongoose,
For drugging?
goose.
Indregnated.
Mongooses!
Argue over. But brought here delightfully by someone who does know what Halo is. And if you are attached to someone who loves Halo and you are here as a loving, supportive compadre, let's give those people a round of applause. Parents, significant others, cousins, emotional support dogs, because they are here too. But what is Halo? The neat thing is that if we were to probably ask this question of all of you guys, we would probably get a lot of different answers. And I think that's one of the most amazing things about it. It's a franchise that's coming up on 2 decades officially, which is ridiculous and crazy, but it really does mean so much to so many people. You might ask somebody and they're going to be like, it's campaign, it's epic story, it's universe, it's amazing battles, it's humanity fighting against the odds, against crazy enemies and galactic threats. And you'd be right, because it is that. You might also be talking to me if you got an answer like that, because that's my personal favorite aspect of the Halo universe. But it's also characters. It's characters that mean a lot to a lot of folks. Whether you have met them and been with them along for years, like you see Master Chief and Cortana, Blue Team, the Arbiter, or if you have met them in a 6-minute E3 2019 trailer, like a lot of folks. How many of you guys are big fans already of, I guess, Brohammer is what it's pretty awesome. I think Brohammer is a testament to how Halo's characters can really attach themselves with their fans, which is pretty awesome. Now, how many of you guys are big campaign fans? Raise your hand, campaign. How many guys are more like multiplayer?
I like that too.
How many guys are more like big team, fun, crazy multiplayer? Yeah! How many of you guys are like super sweaty, try hard, esports is everything multiplayer? Okay, don't ever play.
You keep saying yes to everything.
That's great though. That's awesome. That's it. What about you guys? Like, what is Halo to you?
To me,
Yes.
I think when I first saw the 1999 trailer,
Yeah.
Night World 1, it was this promise of all this stuff, right? The world looked great and the graphics were amazing and all that. Also, I had a Mac. So
that will
I was
help.
like, oh, thank God, we got a shooter. It was like before that it was Marathon, and then we're getting this. But it's the sandbox. It's this big world that you can literally play around in, and all the things that you see, and you think, well, maybe I can make a combination of all this stuff. This, the gravity hammer and the warthog and rocket launcher and the Banshee that's coming over. Is there some way I can smash all these things together and do something? And you can, and I think that's when people tell stories about Halo experiences, they are often talking about sandbox. Like you can talk about a great snipe and a close win and all that, but the little anecdotes and the little emergent stories, for me, come from the sandbox. And the fact that water is extremely explosive and deadly in Halo. But yeah, it's sandbox for me.
And to be clear, every fail scenario you see here is literally me.
Yeah.
That's
the bot physics floating straight to the top. Yeah.
a floating bug.
Now, I know that something, even like from a standpoint of the franchise overall. What's amazing is it's gone past even the games, because we were talking about, you know, universe and characters. That's not something that is limited to.
Sorry, Kiki.
By the way, my favorite part of this clip is he tries to jetpack in halfway. Watch this. Here it is. Oh, hover. Oh, nearly so. Now that's what you get for using jetpack.
I tried so hard.
Should have armor lock.
But it's not just the games. I mean, we have any fans of like the books and the novels?
Yes!
Why are they all?
That wasn't
Why are they all
even
front?
planned. Yes.
All the literature people are
That's
sitting
true.
in front.
All the
That was amazing.
but even, I mean, this event right here is a testament to what the Halo universe can be and can become, because it really showcases all of that. It's showcasing our characters and the universe and things from the books and things from the games, and everything down to each of you, who also make up a super important and integral part of our universe. I love trying to talk about something really serious and epic, and there's just some reach bagging going on. Oh, there it is. All right, that's good. Kiki, what about you? What is the Halo universe kind of to you overall?
So for me,
Other than ragdoll physics.
unsurprisingly, considering I'm on the fail end of all of these videos, I love campaign. I am a universe and story person. Like the thing that grabbed me most was being like dumped into really this Halo universe. I remember picking up CE for the first time. I've told this story before. They gave us a book, and I was like, what do I want with this book? I want to play. I stayed up all night playing, and then I just needed more. Like I finished the game, and I was like, how do I get more? And I picked up the book and I read it, and that was when I was literally hooked on the universe. And so for me, it's the stories, it's the character, it's no secret, it's Chief and Cortana and that relationship, and it's this idea that we have these really human stories in this like crazy sci-fi backdrop. So I love the gameplay, experiences, but really it is this world and these characters and the part I get to play in it.
Brian, what about you?
Well, I agree with Frank and Kiki as well. I'm into the universe, I'm into the zany physics and the wacky sandbox, but of course, I'm a little biased. For me, it's really about community. And
Imagine that.
surprise! No, I mean, my first Halo experience actually was with a buddy of mine that worked at Xbox. Before the game released, I went up to visit him in Redmond, and we played co-op, split screen, and yes, the story was immersive, and the gameplay was fun, but it was immediately my first experience was co-op, and from there it sort of sprouted into going to MLG events in Dallas and Columbus, and sort of watching the rise of that. And I've been fortunate in this role in all my years of Halo to travel the world and just get to know and meet people and lasting relationships, and like carrying those, whatever you said, 65-pound CRTs to basements for LAN parties, like to me, like that's what resonates for Halo. And I'm ready to get some split screen back. Who else is?
Nice easy win on that one.
I have to say, like at a personal level, for me, the universe and the story and that immersion is the thing that is most gratifying as a gamer. As somebody in the industry, the community and the feedback and the relationship and that gratification of hearing from the community, and good or bad, honestly, good or bad, that is amazing. And I don't think that there's a lot of industries where that kind of feedback and really that kind of relationship exists. Being here is kind of amazing because we get to see all of you. And it's something like a Comic-Con or whatever, there's like so many different people, but the community is extraordinary.
I refer to it a lot, and this sounds cheesy, I know, but it's a family. I mean, it really is. And to me, I mean, from the people that we meet that come to the studio, from the events that we go to, and it really hits home for me a lot, particularly when we go to esports events. And we have, that is a tight-knit, one niche of the Halo community, but you have people that have been in that scene for 17 years now almost at this point, and even if they don't compete, they still come, and everyone comes, and they compete, we go out together at night, we hang out after hours, like everyone is still in touch, all forged through.
You guys were up late last night.
Some of us were.
I was here late. You guys were at the bar.
You told us to.
Which bar?
And here, you know, every day we got some everyday pictures, everyday life at the office.
Yeah.
all the time.
You know,
This was just Tuesday, right?
people
Random
hanging out at
Tuesday.
the studio.
Yeah.
That Trevor Noah, he is so freaking charming.
Is that
So
Channing
true.
Tatum?
It is
right?
very young. Channing
Looks like Channing
Tatum.
Tatum like plays like.
We are lucky. We are lucky in that the Halo fandom is this group and those people and.
I mean, in all honesty, what's great about Halo is it turns those people into these people. Like
Yeah.
it's a great leveler
Yeah.
there. Where you know, when we meet, one of my favorite things is when we have folks like that who come around at our studio. We have a kind of a curated space that we call the Halo Museum. It has artifacts from all sorts of stuff, game launches and development, commercials and film and linear media, and we have fans that will come out and come through and are like really excited about seeing different elements of the universe. But what's funny is we'll have you were just there.
Jordan came and joined us just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and we had Trevor Noah come by not too long ago, and we've got AJ Styles from WWE, and they are just like you guys. Everybody
fans.
reacts the same when it comes to Halo, which is really amazing.
Bill Gates is in the top right there. He's a Halo fan as well.
I think he's platinum again, right? Like pretty much every season in Arena.
Yeah, he starts on
He
Spawn.
gets sweaty.
He was selling 50s back then.
Yeah, he's a legit 45 though, for sure. Yeah, but he was a fan of the game.
Yeah.
And so he would ask for demos, like Sketch and me and Pete went over
He
there.
did. He went into
times.
Bill's conference room, right?
Set up a demo for him, and he's there because he's just an enthusiast who will have us destroyed if anything.
He's also a team
remotely wrong.
owner, to be fair. He acquired a company
Yes.
at a reasonable cost.
Yes.
So he wanted to understand.
Shut
Bill
him
Gates,
down,
is one of
boys.
those, Bill Gates is one of those fans that's like, I like that thing.
Yes.
I should buy the thing that makes the thing.
That's right.
Which worked out for all of us, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, right? Actually, I want to ask, you guys have worked together, you're working together here, but you've worked together before. What was it like, the Bungie version of Frank and Sketch?
In my case, thinner and fatter, and then thinner, and then fatter again, and not any younger at all. Like I was like 48 or something when I started.
Unlike Sketch, who's Benjamin Button his way through his career.
One thing that hasn't changed is just the shenanigans
Yes.
they have persisted across time. There
Yeah.
was jokes from day one, it's jokes now. Just work hard, play hard, lots of fun.
Yeah, and it's funny for us to think about it historically because there's never Bungie is its own thing, and they're actually nearby. They're doing something at GuardianCon, and Bungie had a very distinct sort of internal community and feel, but it's never been the same group of people ever. And so, like as we've moved back to Microsoft and evolved through that, it's every new game brings that wave of new people and young people and enthusiasm and ideas and evolution of games. So it's always felt, definitely there's been different feels per game release, but ultimately it's the same kind of dedication and passion and inventiveness, regardless of who the names on the credits are. So that's been a slow.
I will tell you, when we were courting Frank O'Connor as a newly minted 343,
Yep.
as we were courting him, we codenamed him, but we were.
Oh, you did?
We were slightly racist in that we thought you were Irish. So he had an Irish code name. Sorry.
What was
Frank
it?
is Scottish.
Was it like shenanigans or corned beef and cabbage? What was it?
Danny boy.
It's because my pipes were
Yeah. So yes, as we had very casual conversations with Frank, aka Danny Boy.
Yeah.
We thought we weren't going to reveal
This
anything.
is it's a revelation to me.
yeah.
I'm excited about this.
This is the happy hour.
Yeah.
On the other side, at Bungie, meanwhile, we're like, who is this Danny boy?
Why is he written into the contract at
It was such a good
such a
code
low
name.
cost?
Kiki, from your perspective, what was it like coming into the franchise at a much more like established spot?
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting because I had always been a fan.
Yeah.
Right? I was already in games. I was already at Microsoft. I was already a fan. And and I'd also worked with Bungie.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
I think you had worked on tons of Halo stuff.
I was the director of art for Microsoft Studios, which is now Xbox Game Studios. So I worked with all of our first-party teams. So I worked a lot with Marcus Lato on the art side.
Yeah.
Best person, not ever, because these are really the
He's
best
he's
people
pretty
ever.
close.
Yeah, so I had already had experience with the team, and honestly, for me, when the opportunity to join 343 came up, it was a dream come true, because I love the franchise. I had so much passion around, where it could go, and what we could do with it, and so it was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I went from working on all sorts of games to working on one, and now it's almost half my career, frankly, now, on Halo, and it's been extraordinary.
So, a brief history, kind of, some of you guys touched on some of the early relationships with, like, Halo and Microsoft. Like, when you look at the franchise across, obviously, the franchise makes up a ton of different projects. Some of the most recent ones that we've obviously talked about, we've got a little project called Halo Infinite that is in the works. Which is pretty cool. But kind of going backwards from that, one of the coolest things that we've done in recent memory, which I actually love, that it's not some box art, it's just a giant entity, even on the slide, is Halo Fireteam Raven. How many of you guys have got a chance to play some Fireteam Raven?
Yeah!
I remember when we first announced that, everybody wanted a new ODST game, so we were like, here. That's what you meant, I think. It wasn't. But I remember when we announced Fireteam Raven, and a lot of people were like, oh, this sounds awesome. And some people were like, oh, an arcade game. Okay. What's funny is there are a lot of people in the studio with similar reactions. So in early times and talking about that, it's you're always looking at like what kind of cool new things, because one thing I love about the Halo universe is I feel like you could make a game of any genre, maybe almost any genre.
I know, we're working on Hogman Control, it's coming.
I know. I want my grunt platformer. Somebody's going to want an elite dating sim.
Dating sim!
There it is.
Wow.
It's already
Wart.
gonna work.
the real underground captures there. But I remember a lot of people, thinking like, oh, an arcade game, and then really quickly you start to think like, oh man, that could be really awesome, actually. And I'm getting to work with the folks from Raw Thrills, the play mechanics. I think
Eugene Jarvis?
Eugene Jarvis.
Right?
Seriously, talk about it.
Defender, Robotron,
True.
Stargate, like.
Yeah.
No, they were doing like, gaming royalty, old school gaming royalty.
He was the first video game guy I'd ever heard of by name. Before Shigeru Miyamoto, before Warren Robinette, I knew just because his name comes up in the Atari screen. But Eugene Jarvis was the first person in video games that I associated with a name, and I knew the thing that he had named. So getting to meet him
And
was
an incredibly
incredible. Oh my God.
charming, kind man. We go into our first meeting with him, and we are fanboy girling super hard, super aggro. Probably weirded him out.
Yeah, I think he was used to it. Has anyone here played Defender? Anyone Defender, Robotron?
All right.
Yeah.
First of all, more of you
I know.
need to friggin' do that.
But
Seriously.
just to put it mildly, Defender in the arcades is hard. Dark Souls is for babies. Hard. And I defy you to go find a machine and get through.
Legit punishment.
10 minutes without $100 as quarters. So, it was amazing.
Anyway, we digress. I
Yes,
will
yes.
say that because we have a 4-player Fireteam Raven in the office.
Yep.
I've done interviews in there. I've done one-on-ones in there. No, it goes well. As long as I win, it's fine. For
Now
that.
I'm imagining somebody in there like bonus depends on the high score. Like, it's a performance review. What?
It is. It's a lovely environment for conversation.
But the meta is kill stealing. Like, what if they're good?
That's fine.
All right.
I'll still be better. Fine.
And of course, looking back, over 343's history with games, you've got, all the way back from, Halo 5 and 4 and the Master Chief Collection and Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, and then going back, I'm super excited about combining Bungie's Swan Song with the Halo the Master Chief Collection. You guys excited for Reach to?
And people had a chance to play.
Yes, right
Yeah,
there.
He's
right
on the
there.
floor.
Right there.
In all honesty, if we start boring you, you can just look to the right.
Yeah, just
Gameplay
cut up
right
and
over
go.
there. But when you start moving even further before that, I think a lot of people are familiar in general with Halo's history, and a lot of folks, it has become obviously synonymous with Xbox for a million amazing and wonderful reasons. But the early days are a little bit different, and often actually a surprise to some folks. Anybody
Probably
remember
because
Macworld 1999?
I do.
Claude? I know you do.
I totally do.
Right? Okay. Let's take a look at. You want classic Halo gameplay?
By the way, I feel like I just paid about $200 for jeans just like that. It all comes back.
This is classic art style.
So this is probably why Bill Gates decided
Yeah.
he needed Halo.
Yeah. And there's too many buttons there for Chief, so you got Cortana.
What's amazing that when I look at watching this is there's a couple of things. Is one, how I still look at it and real quickly see past some obviously dated graphics and think like, this looks awesome and I want to go and play whatever this actual mission is. And the fact that like it still feels fresh.
Yeah. I mean, I like obviously Marathon
Yes.
on Mac, right?
Yes.
Like all of us, that's kind of what brought us to Bungie. And then this, right? And at the time, I was a Mac user at the time. Like that was so exciting. Only to be more exciting
When it was cancelled on Mac and
when
moved
we
to
announced it.
Microsoft
Yeah,
console.
when we
Yeah.
announced it as Xbox.
Now, I want to talk about some of like the, if we're going super back, like some of the favorite moments. And we talked about, Bill Gates specifically, like the times where, like, what are some of your favorite moments from, like, let's say CE. Brian, what are some of your favorite moments from that era?
I mean, it's two
Does this
things.
predate you at Bungie?
Yeah, I didn't join the studio
Okay.
until after CE. I think Halo 2 was just kind of getting started.
Yeah.
So you guys both joined during Halo 2, right?
Yeah, but I was a few days before that big thing that happened in the middle of Halo 2's development. That was
All right.
bad timing, yeah. But
We gotta wait till the Halo 2 slide to get to that, right?
Sketch is more hardcore than I am.
I mean, I already talked about CE in my own personal, just having the crazy opportunity to play an early development build with a friend, a college friend who happened to work at Xbox. So I got to play it early. Immediately was just like that video, just taken back by the free roaming gameplay, the Warthog. It was all still there that early day. And then honestly, the second thing for me, it's the one and only game I've ever actually played co-op with my dad.
Oh,
I made him play it, and we had a great time, and he figured it out, and like that was pretty awesome.
Man,
That's pretty.
this got
So
super
where were
wholesome
you?
real quick.
Where were you when
That's
CE
awesome.
came out?
When CE came out, I actually was working in the arcade industry and doing totally different stuff. So
Wow.
And
That big
fairly
like,
close to here.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm actually born and raised in Florida.
You got two native
Do a Florida
on
thing.
this panel.
Yeah, what?
Yeah,
Later.
do a Florida
Florida
thing.
thing
What's
later.
Florida man?
We'll steal segues. I got this.
I
So
just
you're
don't.
a legit Florida man.
I don't want to make a Florida man headline while I'm here this weekend. That's just that's my number one goal.
Florida man steals warthog.
Florida man steals Florida.
There you go.
That could happen. That could happen.
Florida man can't
Yeah,
stick
it was, I don't know. For me, lifelong gamer, always going after the next big thing, owning every console ever made,
Yeah.
starting in the arcades. And my dream was I want to go be a part of that someday. And through a whole bunch of zigs and zags, it happened.
Yeah.
Bungie interviewed me, and I don't know if I even told you, Frank. It was like 4 days worth of interviews,
Yeah.
and then I had to come back again for like 2 hours with just Jason Jones in this little conference room, and I was like scared out of my mind. And I just walked in after an engineering candidate had left, and the board was like full of Chris Butcher, Beautiful Mind-esque like equations and math, and like I almost fainted. I thought that was for me.
Yeah.
And then Jason was just like, yeah, so what's up? Like, what do you think about Halo? And like, I think you're cool. Some guys worried you might be too corporate, so I just wanted to kind of get a feel for you.
Yeah.
And then
And he's like, do an algorithm.
I guess I passed the audition. Nah.
I just love the idea of you being too corporate.
Right?
That's right. Give it up for Sketch getting the job. This will be a very different panel. Otherwise, Kiki, what about you? Any specific like cool Halo?
Oh my gosh. I kind of spoiled my favorite moment, which was literally finishing the game and then reaching for more. But I will say, the boyfriend who had left me when I came back from trying to launch Gotham, we played through an early build together of CE. I know, literally like on the phone. What do you call it?
Just checking in with the observer.
Oh, my husband. Yeah. The one that stuck around is
Kiki's husband, everybody.
Most patient man. So we got the build a little bit early and literally played through the entire game, not in the same room, but on the phone together. So it was like this sort of slightly synchronous playing through, talking through on speakerphone as we played, which was most inefficient.
Early Xbox Live.
I was the most inefficient
Xbox
Xbox Live. I invented Xbox
You
Live.
started online co-op. That was like the first ever online co-op.
You're like,
I
we're going
did.
to play the game I want to play,
Yeah.
matchmake.
But it was one of those like, okay, we should go. I'm done. Maybe that's why he broke up with me. I'm like, no, we gotta get to the end. Anyway,
But he
it
never
literally it was magical for me. Like I was hooked.
Frank, give me some early Halo memories. Halo 1, 2.
Yeah, where were you?
Yeah.
Halo 1, I was working for a video game magazine that covered Xbox. So it was like it was your job, but you didn't really know the proper internal cadence of working at game developer. And it was, so I was kind of a player at that point. I may as well have been a consumer for all that matter. One of my favorite memories is shortly after I started working at Bungie, and we had a LAN. I can't remember where, somewhere on the east side, somewhere near Kirkland, somewhere flat. But we did LANs all the time. So you're carrying 120 pounds, by the way, Sony Vega CRT.
Super buff.
Like if you're gonna play 40p.
And that was high end.
Yeah, that was high end.
Vega was high end.
And also really, really, really difficult to plug component cables in the back of an armoire. Anyone still got scars from doing that? But I remember we went to this LAN and I had 4 TVs, 4 Xboxes, bunch of cables and all that stuff in the back of my car. Got pulled over in Kirkland by a cop. And he's like, where are you going at 2 in the morning with all these TVs and video game consoles? I was like, we're having a Halo LAN. He's like, what are you playing? Like Big Team Battle? Seriously. It's such a weird little moment that you can connect with people across the decades and across law enforcement. And that's my favorite memory, but that memory repeats all the time. You're in an airport and you meet someone and people have these connections and memories.
Well, you heard my TSA story before, right? Where I was stopped on the way to E3 and like pulled aside to a small